And welcome to Gaston Spotlight. I'm Evan Ludwig. Today's guest is the coordinator of the Broadcasting and Production Technology Department, Mr. Robert Maier. Welcome, Mr. Maier.
Oh, thank you. Great to be here.
Great to be here with you, too. Now, the first question I was wanting to ask you is, how did you end up here at Gaston College?
Oh, well, that's kind of an interesting route that I took to get here. I was actually consulting for a TV station in Kabul, Afghanistan.
All the way in Afghanistan?
Yeah. And one of the things that I was doing there is I went to visit a university that was in the city called American University of Afghanistan. And they had a little broadcasting production program there. And I said, wow, this looks really interesting. How do you get a job teaching here? And they said, well, you have to get a master's degree first. So I said, well, okay. So my contract went up. I went back and got a master's degree because I thought it'd be great to teach. And as soon as I got the degree, I was looking through one of the job lists, and it said Gaston College was looking for somebody. And I went over there, and they said, you're hired.
Just that easy?
Yeah.
Wow, so you just walked in, and the next thing you know, you get a job here at Gaston College.
Yeah, well, they were really impressed. They figured if I can survive Kabul, Afghanistan, I can survive Dallas, North Carolina.
Yeah, that is, yeah. I mean, Afghanistan's a pretty tough place.
They did warn me.
They didn't warn you about what happened?
No, they did warn me, and I said, I can handle anything.
Well, that is good, and it looks like it's worked out well for you here.
Yeah, you think so?
Okay. Now, not only do you work here at Gaston College, but apparently you work in the film industry. So tell us what that is like.
Well, I got a 4-year college degree, actually in English, and started working at a film school, University of Maryland.
Okay, so it's not in Afghanistan.
No, this was when I was 21 years old.
Oh, okay.
Afghanistan was when I was 50-something. And so it was a great little film school, and fell in love with it.
Now,
to work.
Well, what is your favorite genre to work on? Because there's so many genres in movies, and like, is it horror, comedy, action? What do you like specifically working on in movies?
Well, I started out in low-budget films, 1970s, a lot of low-budget horror movies, underground comedies, and then some television, worked into TV commercials a little bit, some more mainstream PBS dramas, and then finally segued into documentary films, which I think is my favorite. I've been working in documentaries for more like 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Documentaries is up your alley. It's your favorite. So, could you tell us some of the documentaries you've worked on throughout your career?
Well, I lived in a Trappist monastery for a month, with making a film about their life. They're called Trappist, and that's around. I made another film for them called Nativity, which is about the history of nativity scenes. Mm-hmm. And that plays on Christmas on one of the Bible channels, Trinity Broadcast Network, I think. And it's kind of funny because they play it 3 or 4 times a day all Christmas week. So if people say, oh, can I see it? I say, yeah, just turn on Trinity Broadcasting around Christmas.
It's on loop.
You'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They play like 7 different films over and over again for the Christmas season. Yeah, so that's there.
Now, you
don't miss it.
Yeah, I will not miss it this year. I will try not to miss it. What channel did you say it was on again?
Trinity Broadcast Network.
All right, I will try to see if I have that on my broadcast.
Yeah.
So you also have written a book, and it's called Low Budget Hell. You see on the back of our screen here.
Right.
Well, now what is that about? Is it about your history in movies?
Yeah, that was when I was working in the low-budget film industry in New York City and in Baltimore, where I grew up. And it was a period of about 10 years, 12 years, starting out with films. The last film I did was Crybaby. And it was with John Waters. That was pretty well known. Got to know Johnny Depp and a number of the other actors who were in that. And I worked with Andy Warhol in New York.
Wow.
And got involved in the punk rock scene. Debbie Harry, Chris Stein, the Ramones.
Oh, wow.
And through a couple of different movies. There was a movie I worked on called Cocaine Cowboys. which a lot of the films I worked on have been remade in the past 20 years. Cocaine Cowboys, House on Sorority Row, Hairspray, of course, has been remade with John Travolta.
Did you expect John Travolta to be playing the role of a woman in that movie, or
No, I had no idea.
that came out of the blue, didn't it?
Yeah. And the Broadway play was a huge success. I didn't share in any profits of it, unfortunately, but that's showbiz.
Yeah, that is showbiz. I mean, that was a big movie.
Yeah.
Hairspray. I remember it coming out about 10 years ago. So
Mine was the low budget version.
the low
first
budget
one, yeah.
but it was the original, right?
Yeah, the original.
Yeah, the original's always the best. So, going back here to Gaston, what do you see here in the future of this program? Because it's grown so much in the past few years.
It seems to be attracting more better students, and I think it looks very positive for it. I think there's some buzz getting around saying, hey, you can go there. If you're willing to work, you pretty much can do anything you want. It's got plenty of good equipment, has award-winning faculty, and it's maybe one of the best opportunities you can have if you're good, motivated, hard worker.
Right, if you play your cards right. So, I want to go back to a movie. Apparently, you had a movie called Love Letters. Now, what was that movie about?
That was about one of John Waters' stars, and I made it in 1975, right after I'd met him, and it's about Edith Massey, kind of a little comic biography, but it's always been popular. I put it out originally on VHS and ran it around to film festivals, and when it was made on 16mm film, and it would play in theaters along with John Waters films. It played in New York and San Francisco and Los Angeles pretty regularly. In their midnight shows, it was a short subject. So it got to be known, and people wrote about it, and it still was selling a couple of hundred copies a year after how long it's been, 40 years, I hate to say. In fact, what you see here, that's the 40th anniversary version of it. Just had it restored from the 16mm to 2K
HD?
video. Yeah, HD and Blu-ray.
That's pretty big there, Blu-ray there. It's a new hit thing now.
So I wanted to preserve it. Kind of lucky thing I did, because they had a really hard time with the 16mm film. It deteriorated a lot. So it's kind of saved for posterity a little bit more. So if hopefully I can make the money back that I cost to pay for the restoration.
So would you say this is your crowning achievement in the film industry?
No, I don't think. This is kind of a fun little piece that people like. I mean, it's like I said, it sells on eBay and mostly on the internet, and so it's fun to get orders from all over the world and fulfill it. So. And people write me, get fun emails, stories. So yeah, it's not a living.
But it's just nice to have on the side.
Yeah, it's a nice, fun side. I mean, nobody else ever did anything like that. So
you also, I've heard that you also run during your spare time as a cinema. Now, tell us how that's about, and does it help you that you made movies that you run a cinema now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, since I don't really make that many movies anymore, I still love them, and so it gave me an opportunity to see them on a big screen. The great films, there's a lot of older films. I teach a film history course, great films, and so we're able to show those. Last night we had a screening of All That Jazz, and before that, we had, oh boy, I wish I could remember. But we do great films that were made to be seen on a big screen. And so we're trying to preserve that in this theater.
And some films that may have not been noticed that have kind of been...
Yeah. We have quirky... last weekend we had an old silent horror film, vampire film called Nosferatu. And there's a band traveling around the country. They're from Austin, Texas. And they wrote their own musical score for it, and they perform it live in this theater.
Wow.
So they're a show on their own, because sometimes they're playing 2, even 3 instruments at once. One hand playing this, one hand playing the piano, a flute, piano, percussion. They probably play a total of about 25 different instruments through the film. So it's fascinating to watch them go back and forth.
And how many people are in this band again?
5.
Only 5, so they
Actually, there were 4 players.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have to play about 4 or 5 instruments.
Yes.
Wow.
And one of them is a singer too. So, and they travel around the country in a van with all their instruments and PA system, and it's very, very polished. Some people said it was maybe one of the greatest experiences of their life. So I like bringing that to people who haven't experienced ever a silent film or live music played to a film. It is extremely impressive. And we sold out. We were jamming people in any chair we could find.
So that's what you really want to do with your cinema, is to not have the same experience that they can go if they go to one in, like, let's say, Hickory, or the one in your regular movie theater.
Yeah.
You want to have something different that's unique.
Yeah. We do indie films, documentaries, and foreign films in rotations. And yeah, they're all very different, and they're all really special. And we have a following for people who enjoy that. Charlotte has a couple of theaters, but we're way up in the north end of Charlotte, and
right.
it's a 60-mile round trip to the closest art theater, and they may not. We definitely tend more to the quirkier and less popular. For example, we're showing the only theater in North Carolina that I know of that's showing this new Beatles documentary called 8 Days a Week, directed by Ron Howard, footage that's never been seen, and it's a huge hit around the world.
Yeah.
But theaters in Charlotte have a hard and fast rule never to show a documentary film.
Never?
No, they think it'll scare people away from the movies.
That's weird.
It really is. Yeah. So I mean, it's wide open for anybody who wants to show documentaries, and there's a big enough audience to appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Maier, I greatly appreciate you joining us today here at Gaston Spotlight. We'll hope to see you here again, and maybe go to your movie theater sometime soon. That Beatles movie seems very interesting and intriguing. Yeah.
Actually, Gaston College students get in for free.
Oh.
In the BPT program.
Well, that's very nice. So thank you for coming on here today.
All right.
And this has been Gaston Spotlight, and we'll see you next time.